Alright guys, so it's just like it's shown in the thumbnail as well as the title. In today's video, we are going to be going over the cookies that are not worth your investment. I think it's been more than like 3 years since I've actually made a video like this. I made a lot of videos talking about cookies that are worth investing in, but not a lot of videos talking about which one you should avoid. But there are certain ones definitely right now you want to avoid. And if you guys are returning because of Shadow Milk or returning because of a Pure Vanilla Awaken that is coming out next week, then there are some cookies that you do want to stay away from and not waste your resources on, because these cookies are just not really great. Alright, so let's get into it right now. So out of the ancient cookies, let's talk about the ancient cookies because all the beasts are worth it. Alright, but out of the ancient cookie right now, the one that you definitely do want to stay away from is going to be Hollowberry. So if you guys are trying to, get Hollowberry from Might of the Ancient Part 1 or 3, please stay away from that and choose out of Dark Cacao or Pure Vanilla as of right now. Hollowberry, I don't know when she's going to receive her Awakened version, but as of right now, she is going to be the worst ancient cookie. There are some comps right now inside of the arena where people are using Hollowberry, but it's just not really worth it. Not worth the investment, especially if you guys don't have it at like 5-star ascension and stuff like that. It's not going to be worth investing in Hollowberry. Again, choose out of either Golden Cheese, Dark Cacao, or Pure Vanilla. White Lily 2 is not going to be worst, but it's not as strong as she was when she first got released because of all the awakening and all the craziness that is going on. So keep that in mind. Out of the legendary, honestly speaking, there's only 2 legendaries that are really being used inside of the game right now, and that is going to be Wind Archer in most of the comp and Frost Queen inside of the actual guild boss battle. And besides that, all the other legendaries are really not being used. But out of all of them, I would say right now, Seafarer is probably going to be the one that you should stay away from, just because of the fact that, yes, she is pretty darn strong. She really has a good, stun and things like that. But that's about it, right? You also need to invest heavily into the Crystal Gem in order to actually make her viable. So, in my opinion, out of the legendaries, Seafarer is probably going to be the worst. If you compare her to Epic Cookies, I mean, she's great. She's gonna do a lot of damage. She has a lot of stuns and all that stuff, but within the legendary class, within the Epic Plus class, she's the worst one. And again, the only real 2 that is being used again is gonna be Frost Queen and Wind Archer right now. Even Black Pearl and Stormbringer are not being really used, and Moonlight is kind of iffy here and there, so just keep that in mind. So from the 300 pool box, if you guys are new player or returning and you haven't claimed it, Frost Queen, and then Wind Archer for the 20-day login right now from the Anniversary Volume 2 that we have going on. And then out of the dragon, of course, we only have 1 dragon, but it is the worst dragon. And honestly, out of everybody here, probably the worst cookie within the Super Epic Plus cookies that we have gotten. Pattaya Dragon is really bad. Has gotten super power creeped, and honestly, I know there are people who just love this cookie, and they tried to make this cookie work, but it's just not gonna work. There's only really specific areas that you might want to use Pattaya in, like certain fire comps. But now that you have Burning Spice, you don't need Pattaya Dragon. So honestly speaking, probably the one that you really want to stay away from. Most likely more dragons are coming out in 2026 later down the line, once the whole beast episode is finished, is according to the actual director of Cookie Run Kingdom. So once that happens, maybe Pattaya will get a revival, but until then, stay away from actually investing in Pattaya Dragon because it is not going to be worth your investment and all your resources. And then out of these super epics, there's just a ton of super epics, and honestly speaking, there's only really 1 cookie that kinda is being used, and one that is very iffy too in certain situations. But it's going to be, I would say, Crimson Coral is the only one that's really like still viable, and then the rest of them are honestly not worth investing in, especially Oyster, Clouded Cream, and Capsaicin. Camellia is a very iffy one. Some people do use Camellia for like the Living Abyss, but that honestly too is not the greatest according to the top guilds. So keep that in mind. And I have to say, Camellia, if you guys actually read the wiki of the Cookie Run Kingdom, they did Camellia really dirty. So that is another thing that I will talk about in the future. But I just want to say, out of all of the super epics right now, probably Crimson Coral is the only real kind of viable one used inside of the arena too right now. And honestly, as a solo tank, pretty darn good too. Stardust was used for a very, very long time, but now has really just fallen and has been forgotten finally, because there's a lot of different cookies that already now put in curse and does even more damage and stuff like that. So that is going to be the case. But yeah, out of all of them, I would say Oyster, Clouded, Capsaicin, those three are actually just probably not going to be really worth investing in as well. Okay, so out of the epic section, there's a lot of epic cookies, and there are a lot of cookies that are not being used, but there are certain ones that you probably should stay far away from. Number one, in not any specific order, I'm going to talk about is going to be in T-Knight, as well as our Rye, Vampire. Very outdated. They're definitely not being used. T-Knight especially was used greatly for Arena, but not anymore. Horrible for PvE, honestly speaking. And because of the fact that you do need the magic candy to even make it a little bit slightly better, it's definitely not worth investing. Rye and Vampire, very outdated as well. Honestly, not worth the investment. Licorice, what used to be really, really good in PvE as well, but not worth it. And then moving on, Strawberry Crepe 2. Pretty decent tank, but probably not worth the investment, especially because of the fact that you kind of need the magic candy to make it a little bit viable. So not worth investing in. And then we also do have cookies like Eclair, Royal Margarine, as well as honestly now Cotton 2, Squid Ink, and Espresso Madeline Werewolf, Sorbet, and even Milk, Pumpkin Pie, Poison Mushroom. These kind of cookies are all outdated, guys. Honestly speaking, like even Royal Margarine was used for Guild Boss Battle, not anymore. Eclair, you know, I honestly want Eclair's Magic Candy too, but honestly, right now in this current state, not worth the investment. Not going to be really used in anywhere. Cotton 2 used to be really, really good too, but once like supports that actually did so much more came out, Cotton honestly is outdated as well. All of these cookies right here are outdated. They say Milk is kind of used inside Arena. Technically still not worth it. Pumpkin Pie too, some of the comps are not really worth. Healing Reduction, still one of the best, but there are a lot of different cookies that is able to just put those curses and stuff like that, so not really worth. Poison Mushroom, I would even say Brute is kind of like iffy too. And then we also do have someone like Prophet, Herb, Purple Yam. They're also not really worth it, especially Herb. Herb used to be really, really good because of the fact that Herb had the Purify, but because of the fact that we have Monocle now, which is honestly just so much better than Herb, I would say not really worth it. You did see Herb inside of the Beasties, but in those special cases, you can always just slap on Herb into like the Hall of Ancient Heroes, and you can go and use Herb for that event and then be done with it. It's a 24-hour cooldown now. It's not worth investing into. You know, your resources are very, very important. And then moving on, we have someone like Chili Pepper. Of course, you don't want to invest in. Cherry Blossom used to be pretty good too, but not really good anymore. Red Velvet, Almond 2 used to be really unique, but not very good anymore. Lilac, Fig, obviously. We also do have someone like Crunchy Chip, Candy Diver, Cocoa, Mercurial Knight, Tiger Lily, Kumio, Raspberry, Sparkling, as well as our Caramel Shoe, Moon Rabbits, Olive, Red Asmanthus, Golden Asmanthus, our Butter Roll, Okchun. These cookies are all, honestly speaking, waste of your resources. The ones that I didn't actually mention are kind of viable, so I'm not saying they're not like super, you know, like stay away from, but honestly speaking, if they're not listed inside of my videos like cookies that are worth it or like invest in, then most likely they're probably better to stay away from, just because of the fact that, especially if you guys are starting out in this game, and especially if you guys are returning to the game, resources are kind of limited, and you do need to start farming them through events and continue to play and get it from sources that passively give you guys EXP star jellies and stuff like that. So it is very, very important to invest in cookies that are going to be worth it while you guys are actually playing the game, so that you're not struggling. Like, it's not fun when you struggle inside of games like this, because like there are stages, well, they will just run you over. But it's a very simple fix in most of the cases, and that is actually investing in cookies that are good, that are up to date, and also investing in like topping, substats, and all the other things that I've talked about in previous videos as well. But as of right now, the main thing is going to be from the Epic Plus, from Ancient, Beast, legendaries, dragon, and super epics. Those are the rarities, so people do like to invest in them thinking that they're really good. But honestly speaking, some of them are really bad, worse than some epics, so stay away from those. So that is pretty much what I have for you guys. Of course, once Pure Vanilla Awaken comes out, there might be slight changes within certain cookies that might be used, and certain cookies that might not be used as well. But we'll have to see once that does come out. But most of the stuff that I talked about in this video will probably be staying the same, so just keep that in mind. If you guys have anything, if you guys also do have other cookies that you want to mention, worthy of your investment, but still, is your favorite or you really like them, then let me know down in the comments below. But that is going to be it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.